Navaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Gukarasvantakaro Vai Rukarastan Nivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvad Guruvidya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Vidyave Brahma Vidyacharya Nachiketase cha. Read the verses 9 and 10 on the page 6. Atmanam rathinam vidhi Shariram rathamevatu Buddhim tasarathim vidhi Manah pragrahamevacha Indriyani hayanahu Vishayamsteshu gocharan Atmendriyamano yuktam Bhokte tyahurmanishinaha. Describing the journey of our life, that we are provided with chariot of the nature of this body, which is drawn by the horses, the sense organs of perception. Vishayam steshu gocharan. That also should be remembered, that these horses of the nature of organs of perception run on the path of sense objects. The sense organs run on the path of sense objects because the sense organs have a natural affinity for sense objects. So it is said that the horses of the sense organs run on the path of sense objects. For controlling these horses, there is a rein of the nature of manas, of the mind, and for choosing the path, making the choices, for determining what the goal is, what the path is, and what the choice is at every interaction, at every fork, there is this buddhi, the intellect, which is in the place of Sarathi, or the charioteer, the driver of the chariot. And riding this chariot is the Jivatma, Atman Devamanoyuktam, one who is Bhokta, Karta, the doer, enjoyer, or the one who looks upon oneself as a doer or the enjoyer, who in reality is none but consciousness. In reality, one who is consciousness and they were boundless, free from all attributes, and they were free from all limitation. That is the nature of the self. However, due to ignorance, this self identifies with this body, mind, sense complex, and therefore the actions which are really performed by the organs of action, he says, I am the actor, I am the doer of action, I am Karta, the agent of action. And the bhoga, the experience, really takes place at the level of organs of perception. On account of identification, the organ of perception is I am bhokta, I am the experiencer. Thus, on account of identification with the organ of hearing, he calls himself a hearer. On account of identification with the organ of seeing, he says, I am a seer. And then, I am a speaker, I am a thinker, I am a knower. All these various kinds of notions, who entertains? Atma entertains. Which Atma? The consciousness, the limitless, that entertains these kind of notions about one's own self. Unbelievable. Why should Swamiji's happen? Why should the limitless self have this kind of notions or complexes about himself that I am limited? That is called the ignorance. We will see it in the next verse also. And he is a traveler. And he is to reach the goal. What is the goal? The limitlessness is the goal. Naturally, because limitlessness happens to be his nature. And therefore, there is a natural love for limitlessness, natural love for existence, natural love for knowledge, natural love for happiness, because existence, knowledge, happiness is his nature. And love for the self is natural. And therefore, so what he loves is legitimate. Therefore, what he wants is legitimate. That he wants existence, awareness, happiness, Satchit Ananda, this is what he is seeking. Also is legitimate. Except that the way he seeks may or may not be legitimate. One assumption is that is Satchit Ananda which I am seeking is something different from myself, and therefore I have to achieve that, acquire that, reach that. I have to attain that from something other than myself. Other assumption in life can be that Satchit Ananda is my own nature. And in spite of it being my own nature, if I don't experience it, then only due to ignorance. That ignorance separates me from my goal, and therefore what I need to do in my life is to remove ignorance. That ignorance alone manifests as this karta, the doer, bhokta, the experiencer, and various other complexes. And naturally, when I look upon myself as an individual, then individual feels a sense of smallness, sense of insignificance, a lack or want. So I become always a wanting, lacking person, always desiring to become free from that lack and want. And whatever I look upon as a means of removing that lack or want, a means of happiness or security, that becomes the object of my like or attachment. And contrariwise, whatever I look upon as a threat to the fulfillment of my desire, there is a dvesha or aversion. So this ignorance creates a sense of individuality, and that creates this attachment and aversion. Not realizing that attachment and aversion are in fact ignorance, he takes them to be real, and therefore he spends whole of his life in trying to satisfy these attachments and aversions. Attachment also gives rise to a desire of acquiring and possessing and experiencing something. Aversion also gives rise to desire of getting rid of some, avoiding, getting rid of something. Thus the whole life is characterized by acquiring and getting rid of. In this, if he at least follows the moral code of order in fulfilling his desires which are not genuine, because they cannot be fulfilled, because what is desiring his own self and therefore the desire per se cannot be fulfilled. And still, if the fulfillment of desire is carried out through a legitimate process of dharma or righteousness, then it is possible that a time will come when perhaps that dharma may bring about some antahakana shuddhi or purification of mind. And it may occur to him that maybe what I am doing is not right, and thus viveka may arise in him. But the pressure of these likes and dislikes is so strong that under the impulse of the attachment aversion, he even starts compromising the values of life, compromises dharma, because the time comes that you cannot fulfill your desire by legitimate means, because as we keep on fulfilling desires, they become stronger and stronger. Avrutam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunte dushpurena analena cha. Lord Krishna says this kamarupena he kaunte Arjuna, this veil or ignorance of the nature of kama or craving, dushpuram is something that cannot be satisfied. Analena cha, it is like fire which can never be satisfied. More you offer to the fire, more fuel is offered, more demanding the fire becomes. So this fellow is driven by something within himself, nothing but restlessness in life. He encounters success and failure constantly, more failure than success, because what he is seeking also is sought by other people, and therefore it is more likely that his desire may not be satisfied. As anger comes, if desire is satisfied, the greed comes. And that's how his mind becomes nothing but a breeding house of all these kama, the demoniac qualities, demoniac tendencies, of which the description we heard in the 16th chapter of the Gita. Anyway, for a person like that, what will happen to the chariot of his life? When the mind has all these impulses or negative tendencies, then that passes on to sense organs, to horses also, and slowly the sense organs also become unruly. Dushtasvaya sarthe. If there is a charioteer whose horses are not trained, were wild horses, then how those wild horses, they drag the chariot and ultimately throw it into a ditch. And so also this person's life, where his sense organs also are not under control. Samsaram chadigatchadi, he goes round and round in the cycle of birth and death. So this is one gati, one end, and that is the revolving in the cycle of birth and death, called revolving in samsara. But on the other hand, if there is a sarthi or charioteer who is the viveka, who understands the value of values, and therefore who is willing to control his impulses for the sake of following the values. He does what is right rather than what is convenient. And ultimately he becomes a contributor rather than a consumer. If this viveka or discrimination is there, then his chariot runs on the right path of self-control, the peace of mind. He in course of time attains a personality wherein he enjoys a harmony, where the intellect, the mind, the sense organs, all of them are in harmony, meaning that the mind does what the intellect tells it to do and sense organs do what the mind tells to do. Like horses follows that reins and reins follow the charioteer. Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyescharan atmavashe vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. In course of time, this person enjoys a personality where there is prasada, prasannata, cheerfulness. What has happened? Ragadvesha vyuktahi indriyahi. From his sense organs, from his mind, the ragadveshas, the attachment, aversions, all of these are driven out in course of living the life of karma yoga. Life of yoga, which means offering to Ishvara, rather than bhoga, which means consumption. Ragadvesha vyuktahi indriyahi, the sense organs that are now free from the pressure of attachment and aversion, or kama and krodha, of the lust and anger. Atmavashehi, such sense organs are happily under the control of the mind, and the mind is happily under the control of the intellect. Thus, he enjoys a harmony. Prasadam adhigacchati, he experiences prasadam, prasannata, happiness, cheerfulness. Because of what? Not because of any pleasurable sense organs. It is because now he has nothing but tapped into the happiness of his own self, and since his mind has become now like a clean and transparent pool of water. In a pool of water, if you remove all the dirt and the surface of the water is calm, how that water becomes a transparent body and reveals what is at the bottom, so also his mind becomes like a transparent pool of water and reveals the Atma, the happiness, the self, which is at the bottom, which reveals itself. So a person who has this kind of life, what happens to that person, how that person achieves the goal, is what is described in the next verse. Verse number 11 on the page number 7. Vijnana sarathiyastu manah pragrahavan narah sodvanah paramapnoti Tadvishno paramam padam. So this karma yogi is now described in this way. Lord Krishna says that there are two stages of a person's spiritual growth. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. For yogi, for the active people, the first stage is karma yoga, performing karma, the duties in the spirit of yoga, in the spirit of worship of the Lord. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. As a result, this person becomes a sankhya. He enjoys a purity of mind, in which now there is a desire for knowledge, and it takes up a life of renunciation. He approaches the teacher, and at the feet of the teacher listens to this scripture Shravanam, unfoldment of the Mahavakya, unfoldment of this major statement, that is, you are Brahman. What the teacher says to him is only one thing: you are Brahman. You are limitless. That's all he keeps on saying. There's nothing else to say. Swamiji told us that today is third I am telling you are Brahman. At the end of the course also I will say this. This is all I have to say. Somebody asked Swami, suppose somebody comes up with a better proposal. Then what Vedanta proposes, what will you do? He says, I'm telling you are limitless, improve upon that. If someone comes up with improvement upon what Vedanta teaches, and what will you do? This Vedanta says, I'm telling you, you are limitless, please improve upon that. So that is called limitless, which is not a subject of improvement. And so this is simple thing that the Upanishad reveals, simple thing. You are limitless and everything is limitless. What is one non-dual reality? And all of this is manifestation of the same non-dual reality. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate. What is the self is Purnam, whole or complete. Idam, all of this, the universe also is nothing but manifestation of same Purnam. Not only universe, even this individual Jiva also is manifestation of only same Purnam. Even I am Purnam, I am complete, I am limitless, says yeah, Purna, Purna Udachyate. When the cause is Purna, the effect also is Purna, because effect always carries the traits of the or lakshana of the cause. If you make a pot out of clay, then pot is going to reflect the characteristics of clay. So who is this Jiva? Who is nothing but the created, the Purnam alone appearing as Jiva. Never, in reality, one who looks upon himself as a small, limited individual is Purnam. Then what do I do? How come I don't feel Purnam? What do I do to recognize that I am Purnam? Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Recognize the Purnatvam in you. Recognize that you mixed up the Purna and Apurna, the two things, and therefore by the Viveka, by separating what is Anatma from Atma, recognize that Atma is Purnam and Anatma also is Purnam. Purnameva Avashishyate. What is this Purnam? What is this whole? What is this limitless? You, I, or anything, everything, and everybody, everything. It's a simple thing that Vedanta keeps on telling us. Why do you take so many years? People would live at the feet of the teacher 12 years, studying so many Upanishads. And upon the Upanishad there are commentaries by Shankaracharya, and then upon commentaries there are this gloss, and then upon that there is further thing, and this whole body of literature, and then you keep on breaking your head with all kinds of knowledge, Vyakaranam, all kinds of grammar, and all kinds of logic. Why do you do all of this? Because the process of removal of ignorance is a long process. Ignorance manifests in our life in the form of variety of complexes arising from identification. And these complexes have to be resolved. Bhidyate hridaya granthi. All the granthi of the complexes have to be cut asunder. That takes time. In a couple of days you understand that I am Brahman, I am limitless. It makes sense. I have to be limitless because I love to be limitless. I have to be happiness because happiness is what I love. And what I love must be my own self, and that it all makes sense. If we have no resistance in our mind, then it makes sense. If we resist, what do you mean? Is there God? What God? Is there order? What order? So sometimes resistance comes. On account of various experiences we may have gone through, or all kinds of stuff that we may have brought from the past. But if that is called Antaragana Shuddhi, when there is no resistance, it becomes clear to us. Then what removes is the clarity of this knowledge, and therefore the various complexes have to be resolved. So this journey is not from one place to the other, or one state to other, it is from ignorance to knowledge. For a non-aviveki, non-discriminating person, the journey is from one end to the other and goes round and round. But for a discriminating person, the journey is from ignorance to knowledge, from aviveka to viveka, from non-discrimination to discrimination, making right choices, and then having the right understanding, right choices. So, Vijnana Sarthiyastu. This passage says one who is Vijnana Sarthi. Vijnanam Sarthi Yasya Saha. The one of whom Vijnanam, the knowledge, the discriminative intellect is Sarthi or the charioteer. The person for whom the discriminative intellect is a charioteer, meaning whose intellect enjoys the discrimination of what is basic discrimination? What is basic understanding? That my life should become a process of attainment of what is already attained. Meaning that I do not perform the actions for attaining what is not attained, I perform actions to get rid of ignorance. What is ignorance? The likes and dislikes. So that's the basic viveka or discrimination in living the life. All the values are based on this only, whether it is non-violence or truthfulness, all of these are based on giving up ignorance, giving up likes and dislikes. Retaining likes and dislikes, it is not possible to follow these values. I am required to let go, a thing that I am attached to, I am holding on to, I let go. Vijnana Sarthiryastu, this one who has Sarthi, the charioteer, who possesses Vijnanam, possesses discrimination, possesses right understanding of what the goal is and what the path is, and therefore who makes the right choices. Choice of doing what is right rather than what is convenient, following the value rather than compromising the value, attaining what is already attained rather than attaining what is not attained. This is the right choice. Manah pragrahavan nara. As a result, as this impulses of likes and dislikes are slowly and slowly given up, driven out, the mind also starts enjoying peace, that even the emotional faculty, this is what we call the emotional maturity. For an emotionally immature person, emotions control him. Impulses control him. An emotionally immature person, impulsive person. A discriminating person is a deliberate person. So first, converting myself from an impulsive person to a deliberate person, and finally, from a deliberate person to a spontaneous person. How do I become spontaneous? Because the values that are taught to me are all in keeping with my own nature. Non-violence is a value that I am taught. Non-violence happens to be my own nature. And truthfulness is what I am taught. That is the nature of the self. Meaning whenever I follow these values, I am only following the nature of myself. There is a harmony within my own self, and that's how inner peace gets established. When there is we know very well that when I deliberately hurt somebody, there is a sense of guilt. When I deliberately tell a lie for whatever reason, out of some compulsion, ultimately I regret. Sense of guilt. So this regret and sense of guilt keep on creating the conflicts in my mind. I am in conflict with my own self. And therefore, there is no peace. Peace what? I am not at peace with myself. When people complain about Swami, there is no peace in life. It's not that there is a lot of noise of these birds outside, therefore there is no peace in the mind. These fellows wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but you don't need an alarm clock. They start. So, but then, that is not what really disturbs my mind. If something outside disturbs my mind, that is because the potential of disturbance is already in my mind. All that these poor birds do is just push a button for which the potential of the disturbance, conflict is in my own mind. Otherwise, if I am at peace with myself, nothing can disturb me. So what we need to do is to remove the wiring behind all those buttons. The raga dvesha, the wiring, different buttons are there. They push the buttons, which the world will do. That's the nature of the world, to push the buttons. What I need to do is remove the wiring. What is that wiring? Raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. So people keep on pushing button. The birds can do what they want at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, do that. Either I get disturbed by that or I enjoy that. It's a state of my mind. Prasadam adhigacchati. The mind that enjoys inner peace enjoys everything, because basically I enjoy myself. I enjoy other things when I enjoy myself. So even I'm in the midst of nature, then I feel so good, because being in the midst of nature, my mind gets resolved at that time. All my demands and expectations, they all drop for the moment. Mind becomes clear, and then my mind comes to faces my own self and experiences myself. So nature or something like that facilitates my experiencing myself. So that peace or happiness that I feel, really, I am experiencing myself, for which this becomes an instrument, nimitta. So right now I need so many things, but a time comes when without the need of anybody, when the mind is free from all conflicts, is at peace with itself, then I am always happy with myself. When I am happy with myself, I am happy with everything. What about the spouse? What about your boss? What about your neighbor? What they have? Regardless of what they are. Because then the core person within me becomes manifest. Who is that core person? That kind, loving, compassionate person is what I become. And therefore you accommodate, understand. Basically what is required is an understanding of where the other person is coming from. So rather than reacting to the behavior of the person, if I realize where the person is coming from, what is bothering that person? Perception changes. This incident I may have described earlier of the New York subway train, in which most of that coach was almost empty. A few people were sitting there, one fellow here and on the benches. Few people were sitting. And they had all occupied the side seats. And in between, sometimes one man with two young boys entered that coach. And these boys were rowdy. They were just running around from here and there and colliding here and colliding there. And these passengers who were sitting there, then, they started saying, "What is, control your children, control your boys. Don't you realize that they are hurting us? They are the big nuisance, control them." That poor man says that I'm just returning from a hospital where the mother of these two boys just passed away. And I'm just, so that what is really bothering them is what has happened to them. Immediately the perception, the attitude of all the people change. Now you see that there is a reason why they behave like that. And compassion arises. So there similarly we understand where people are coming from. How everybody is in pain of one kind or the other, and what makes people do what they do. So rather than responding to the outer behavior, we respond to the person, there is compassion. So this person remains undisturbed, not because he's thick-skinned, unaffected, because he's very sensitive, not only to the outer behavior, but to the person who is behind that. So mind is at peace with itself. When the mind is at peace, meaning free from the impulses, the sense organs also become free from impulses, and therefore there is a complete harmony between the intellect and the mind and the sense organs. Manah pragrahavan naraha. Nara, this person is the one who has the pragraha, the reins of the mind also under control, and therefore the sense organs also are under control. He enjoys shama, dama, uparama. Shama means tranquility of mind. Dama means control over sense organs. Uparama means an abiding mind. Sodhanah paramapnoti tad Vishnu paramam padam. Advanah param apnoti. He reaches the destination of the journey. Advanah param. Advan means a path. And what is beyond that path, the destination, this person reaches the destination of his journey. What's the destination? Tad Vishnu paramam padam, which is supreme nature. Paramam padam. Padam. Padyate iti padam. That which is reached is called padam. Pada. Pada also means in our day-to-day language also, pada means a certain position. Now I'm a general manager, now I'm a director, I'm this. That's called padam. Something that you want to reach. And the means by which you reach also is called padam. So padyate iti padam. That which is reached is called padam. The destination is called padam. And fortunately, everyone is seeking the same destination. But Swamiji is not that everybody has different destination. Everybody wants different things in life. What you want is not what I want. And what I want is not what somebody else wants. See, everybody has their own thing in life. Is it not so? Not so. The desire behind all desires is only one. Vishnu paramam padam. Paramam means the limitless. Padam means the destination. Param means padam. The limitlessness which is destination. Vishnu padam. Vishnu. Vishnu means Vivesti, the Vishnu, one that pervades everything. So Vishnu paramam padam, the supreme abode of Vishnu. The literal translation is supreme abode of Vishnu. See how these expressions lend themselves to different kinds of interpretations. The literal meaning of this expression is Vishnu tat paramam padam, the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. So all the Vaishnava Acharyas, the devotees of Vishnu would say this refers to Vaikuntha. What is Vaikuntha? The abode of Lord Vishnu. So Upanishad says that the bhakta or the devotee reaches the Vaikuntha. But that means he reaches something different from, there is a reaching involved. And there is a travel here, the real travel, real reaching. This is an interpretation that this verse lends itself to. In Bhagavad Gita also, tad dhama paramam mama. Na tad bhasayate surya, na shashanko na pavakah, yad gatva na nivartante, tad dhama paramam mama. That is my supreme abode. Same words are used in Gita also. So Lord Krishna is the supreme abode, which is called, so Vaishnavas will call it Vaikuntha. The Lord Krishna's followers will call him the Goloka Vrindavan. And then Lord Shiva's devotees will call it the Kailasa. And thus, everybody interprets this in their own way and they say, look, this is only validates what we are saying, that there is Vaikuntha, Kailasa, etc. And then somebody else comes up and with other explanation. The mine is even superior to yours. My abode is even farther than your abode, etc., etc. What do the Vedantins say? See, this is the sixth case. Vishnu is the sixth case of the word Vishnu. Vishnu paramam padam. Paramam padam. Paramam supreme or limitless. Padam the abode or the goal. the limitless abode of Vishnu. That's the literal meaning. So what do the Vedantins, how do they explain? This clearly says, sixth case is called the possessive case. Or that is the Sambandha Shashti which relates with something. So that means Vishnu who possesses the abode is different from the abode, it is the abode of Vishnu, isn't it? This is my house, so the house is my dwelling place. I am different, indweller is different, house is different. So this is the abode of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is different, the abode is different, to reach that abode. So how will the Vedantas resolve this duality which this words seem to convey? Sixth case. You know what's the other explanation of the sixth case? Vedanta says, Raho Shashtivat, Raho Shirah, Raho Shiravat Shashti. The sixth case is like the expression Raho Shirah, the head of Rahu. For this you should know a little bit of mythological story. That once upon a time when the Devatas and Asuras, the gods and demons churned the ocean, and then came out the ambrosia, the pot of ambrosia, and the demons were stronger and power was snatched away. So the ambrosia was brought by Dhanvantari, snatched away and then ran away. Poor Devatas, for whom this whole thing was done, the idea was to give them this ambrosia so that they regain their strength and then overcome the asuras or demons. But yet those fellows snatched away. So Lord Vishnu always comes to the rescue of the Devatas or the gods. So Lord Vishnu incarnated as Mohini, as a beautiful damsel, and then appeared before these demons, and naturally they were infatuated, and so the fellow who is a part, so she proposed that give me the part, I will distribute. That fellow says, all right, you distribute that. So this is how the kama, the infatuation is what enabled this Mohini to take the part from that fellow. And now the Devatas are all lined up and the Asuras are all lined up, and she says, let me start first distributing the ambrosia to Devatas and then I'll distribute to other fellows, the demons. Because there was a joint project and there were, both of them, in all fairness, all of them should get a little bit of share of ambrosia. So then this Mohini, this Vishnu's form, started giving ambrosia. One fellow who was very smart, he realized that this is, oh demons, this ambrosia will never come to you. She will give up everything to Devatas. So what he did was, he took the form of a Devata and quietly inserted himself in the line of the Devatas. And as this Mohini is distributing, then he also got that ambrosia and swallowed right away. And then Vishnu saw that. The eyes of the Vishnu complain. Say, hey, look, this fellow is a demon, therefore don't give him. But he already swallowed. But there were Lord Vishnu with his discus chakra chopped off his head before the thing could go down. This, beautiful story, isn't it? So there were one demon now is in two pieces, head and the trunk. Head is called Rahu, trunk is called Ketu. So these are two additional planets that the Vedic astrology or Hindu astrology has. These two fellows are not there in the Western astrology. There are no such planets as Rahu and Ketu. Other planets are all visible, so they are all taken into account. But the Vedic or Hindu Indian astrology takes into account these two fellows' influence of Rahu and Ketu. Where are those planets? How do you take into account of something that is not there, but they are there? They are called Chaya Graha, meaning the planets of the nature of shadow. These people knew how the eclipse takes place because of shadow. When earth comes in the path of sun and the moon, then the earth shadows the moon. That's how the eclipse of moon. And similarly, eclipse of sun, shadow. So this Rahu is called the shadow planet, because he saw that these two eyes of Lord complained, and that's how his head was chopped off. From that, he's retaliating every time. He looks for an opportunity to swallow the sun and moon because they have hurt me. So these eyes are sun and moon. The sun and moon are the eyes of Lord Vishnu. And therefore, Rahu is the enemy. Anytime he gets an opportunity, he swallows the sun or swallows the moon. Fortunately, he is only head, so swallows from the mouth and the fellow comes out, That's the saving grace. So that's how, see, there is a story for everything that happens in nature also. So for eclipse also, this is a story. So even though there are no real planets called Rahu and Ketu, in a way there is an effect, because when eclipse happens, then there is a special effect that eclipse causes upon all of us. How do you take that into account? But this Rahu Ketu, this is my explanation, by the way, So anyway, so this is how in Sanskrit there is an expression, Rahu Shiraha, the head of Rahu. So listen to it carefully. Rahu, sixth case of the word Rahu. Rahu Shiraha, the head of Rahu. What is head of Rahu?
Rahu.
Who is Rahu? Head is Rahu. So Rahu, head of Rahu means head of the head. That's what it. So this is, although grammatically it is sixth case, you should ignore the sixth case and understand that Rahu is the Shira. Rahu means the head. Similarly, here is sixth case. Vishnu Padam. So Vedanta will say that the sixth case is similar to the sixth case of Rahu Shira, meaning the head of the Rahu. Meaning, just as Rahu is the head, and still, in a figurative sense, secondary sense is the sixth case, so also Vishnu is Paramapadam. Not abode of Vishnu, abode that is Vishnu. So then, who is Vishnu? Vevesti the Vishnu, one that pervades everything, that which is self of all. Because he pervades everything. So therefore, Vishnu is my own self. And that becomes the goal. So what kind of a goal or the abode that I reach? Vishnu, which is my own self. Meaning the true nature of myself is Vishnu. Not what I take it to be, this helpless, hapless creature. That's not what I am. That's what I discover in this journey. Of first Karma Yoga and then Jnana Yoga. In that journey I discover that the one that I took to be a helpless creature is in fact Vishnu, the limitless, all-pervasive. This knowledge. Meaning that this abode is reached. It is not reaching the unreached. It is the knowledge of what is already reached. So other acharyas interpret, other teachers interpret these verses to mean reaching an abode in the real sense. So you are after the death, then you reach that abode. Vedanta says there is no reaching at all. Because if reaching is there, then there is coming back also, unfortunately. They say you reach once and for all. But Vedanta says there is no such thing as reaching once and for all. When you go someplace, you have to come back. That's the rule that we observe. When you achieve something, someday it goes away from you. Because you achieve something on account of an effort. As long as the force of that effort is, so long that thing remains achieved. And when that force then slowly becomes loose and it no more remains achieved. You try to hang on to something. How long will you hang on? As long as there is strength in your hands. And then slowly, so if you reach somewhere, you are going to also have to come back. Vedanta says that if reaching the abode is really in a primary sense, then reach and stay there for a certain time and have to come back. It cannot be what we call the liberation, moksha, which has to be eternal. So moksha or liberation can be eternal only when there is no real reaching is involved. Then why do we talk of reaching the abode as though reaching? Like the 10th one, as though discovering the 10th one. I found it. Like the lost, we can, keep it. I found it. It's not finding it. I discovered that I always had it. Even though he said I found it, what it means is I realized that I always had it. So also, wise person doesn't say I've become liberated. He knows that I was always liberated. Except that formerly I did not know, and now I know. That's the only difference. So the difference is between ignorance and knowledge, not between unachieved and achieved. So this interpretation makes a lot of difference. Otherwise, one is based on the duality between the seeker and the sought, whereas Vedanta says that the duality is merely a complex born of ignorance, the seeker and sought. So when the simile of the two birds is given in the Upanishad, in this Upanishad also, the verses that we did not read, says that there are two atmas, two selves in the same place in the heart. One is the atma that performs actions and enjoys the results of the action. Other is the atma that doesn't enjoy, meaning he is a bhokta. One is bhokta, other is a bhokta. One is doer and enjoyer, other is non-doer, non-enjoyer. Two atma. Vedanta is only one atma. The split is created because of ignorance. The one who in reality is non-doer, non-enjoyer, akarta, abhokta, because of ignorance, thinks that I am akarta, abhokta. So not that he becomes akarta, abhokta, that complex or the notion of kartrutva, bhoktrutva goes in the wake of knowledge of my true self. So bondage is a notion, not a reality. Meaning that when you become liberated, not that one who was bound becomes liberated. One who thought who was bound becomes liberated, meaning simply the removal of the notion. You remember the story of the cows, isn't it? This guru and shishya, the teacher and disciple are living in a hut, in a forest. And the disciple is living with the teacher, serving the teacher, and then studying from the teacher. So one of the duties that the shishya or the disciple had was that the guru had these 4 cows. Every morning this shishya or the disciple has to take these cows to the forest for grazing, and by afternoon he comes back. He ties the cows back to their post and then attends to other duties and then takes his lessons from the teacher. So this was the routine. Except that once when this fellow came back after finishing grazing the cows, when he returned, he wants to tie the cows back to their posts with their ropes. There are 4 ropes for tying 4 cows, but today you find that one of the ropes is missing. So 3 cows are tied to the respective posts. But what of the 4th one? If you don't tie the cow, then the cow will walk away. So he didn't know what to do. So he went to the guru. He says, sir, what do I do? One of these ropes is missing. He says, don't worry, you tie the cow. How can I tie the cow? There's no rope. You tie the cow as you do every day. So the gurus are always old people, so this young fellow, he thinks there is some problem here. But one good thing is that he is an obedient disciple. So does literally what the guru says. And therefore he led the cow near the post and did the gestures of tying the cow. In his mind he did not believe that the cow will stay there, but To his utter surprise, the cow stayed there, like every day. He could not sleep for the whole night, but every half an hour he'll get up and see whether the cow is still there. Next morning, early morning, as usual, he'll take the cows for grazing. He untied the 3 cows. The 4th cow is not tied in the first place, so he twists his tail. When you twist the tail of the cow starts walking. But the cow doesn't walk. The 3 cows started walking. The 4th one doesn't walk. So then he says, again went to the Guru. What do I do? He thought that the Guru has some kind of magic by his holding the cow. He says, did you untie the cow? But I did not tie the cow in the first place. He said, untie the same way that you tie. In disbelief, this fellow goes and does the gestures of untying the cow. To his utter surprise, now when he twists the tail, the cow starts walking. Guru has something. That's how you really, you impress your disciples. All disciples think that my Guru is all kinds of powers. It is by his power that the cow was held here, by his power now the cow walks. All that happened is that the cow, he was able to create a notion in the mind of the cow that I am tied. And next morning, not that cow is untied, the notion that I am tied is removed. So there is no real bondage. That's what Vedanta says. Because nothing can bind the Atma. If you take this is whatever closest to the pot is what we have here. Imagine it's a pot. And the pot space is enclosed in the pot. And then the space thinks that I am pot space. Who thinks? The space thinks that I am pot space. And I am confined to this pot, enclosed by the pot, different from other spaces, limited. And then it is given the teaching that, hey, you are not within the pot is within you. You are not this limited. Space cannot be limited. Pot cannot limit the space. What will bind the Atma anyway? Suppose the Atma has to be bound. What will bind it? What can bind the limitless? Meaning that the self is not available for being bound. And still if you think that I am bound, it has to be only a notion. And therefore, Vedanta says that it is not that the one jiva who was bound becomes liberated, and the one who thought I was bound becomes free from the notion of bondage. Otherwise, if he is bound and liberated, he can be bound again also. Whatever caused the bondage in the first place, you somehow untie. The same fellows will come back and tie him again, It is possible. If bondage is real, first of all, you can't remove it anyway. A real thing can't be changed. If bondage is real, Atma cannot be liberated. Because real cannot be destroyed, cannot be changed. You cannot change the nature of something. If being bound is the nature of Atma, you cannot change that nature. And second thing is that we are always comfortable with our nature. If I was really bound, then I would have no complaints about bondage. You follow? No, nothing complains against its own nature. We all complain 95 degrees, 100 degrees. People are all restless with this heat. Does sun complain about heat? Does fire complain about it? Because it's nature. That being case, always comfortable. Similarly, being bound was my nature, I would have been comfortable with bondage. But I am not. The fact that I am not comfortable with bondage of myself means that it cannot be my nature. Otherwise, there will be a natural comfort with myself. So Vedanta says that this bondage is a notion. Liberation is the removal of the notion. And there, the abode of Vishnu cannot be in a primary sense. The abode is different and Vishnu is different. What is meant is, Vishnu, that is the abode, which is the true nature of the self. And it's not to be reached, it's already to be recognized by the removal of the ignorance and the notions born of ignorance. So that's how Sudhanah Paramapnodi. It begins with this yatra, the journey begins with the right choices. The choices that are based on this basic principle of achievement of what is already achieved. That the action that I perform, I do not make it as a means of achieving what I don't have. I perform action as a means of getting rid of the ignorance that I have. So whether I perform actions to accumulate more ignorance in form of ragadveshas, or I perform actions to get rid of the ignorance of ragadvesha, right choices, vijnana sarthayastu, then there is a slowly peace gets established in the mind. Because when I make the right choices, the choices are made in keeping with the reality, in harmony with reality. Therefore, harmony establishes in my mind. I discover comfort with myself. When I am comfortable with myself, then I like myself. Most difficult thing is what? To like myself. My greatest complaint is against myself. One that I first dislike is myself. Then you start disliking yourself, being comfortable with yourself. Then I am poised to discover that the self is limitless. First happens in liking or comfort with the self, then results into knowledge of the self. So this is how the journey of a seeker is described in the Kathopanishad, both ways, of a viveki and aviveki, vijnana van, avijnana van. One was the discrimination, one was the purpose of describing the non-discriminating person is only to praise the discrimination. Here the Upanishad describes rather in detail what happens to a person who makes wrong choices. Is only to extol the person who makes the right choices. Because that fellow will never read this. The people who are criticized or condemned here, they will never read this. What are you talking? What Upanishad are talking about? And therefore, Lord Krishna also criticized so many fellows in Bhagavad Gita. But that is not because they will never listen to him anyway. It's for Arjuna to praise Arjuna that you are all right. So you are something special. These fellows are like that. So to emphasize the journey based on vijnanam or viveka or discrimination is what is the purpose of describing in the form of a journey of the chariot. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.